Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Player's Take, episode 94. I'm your host, Justin D. joined by my co-host, Spider-Man, Montrell Rice.
Hey, what's up? What's up?
How you doing, man?
Uh, I am out of it, man. I'm waiting for this holidays. I
Yeah.
thought I was gonna do some Black Friday shopping, but mentally, I'm not there. I just don't feel like dealing with the rush. I don't feel like dealing with none of that
You
shit.
just
So
need to veg, right?
yeah, man. I think I'm probably gonna try something on Cyber Monday, but
Yeah.
that's a stretch.
I feel you. Well, I got some updates. To the fence saga from last week.
Okay,
So,
okay.
I was telling you and Dennison last week I was defeated and I just was going to pay $600 to get my fence repaired. Well, me and my wife kind of had like a come to Jesus moment with each other, during the weekend. And we both just said, fuck this guy, fuck all these guys. We're fixing it ourselves. And god damn it, we've done a third of what we needed to do, and we fixed one gate. So
Hey, that's
we're
what's
on
up.
our way. Like we went to. So, dude, this is the scheme, right? You don't really know what this shit costs, like the materials you need or anything like that. And this is the whole game these places play, right? They just prey on how
Yeah.
unknowledgeable you are, right? So my wife goes to Home Depot and she buys 5 pieces of plywood, or not plywood. Fuck, I forget what it was called. I think it was pine, for the fence. So 5 fence boards basically to replace some boards that we have that are broken. 2 gate latches, and then some wood screws and nails that we needed. And all that cost less than $40.
What?
Which is all we needed done, So we did the first gate on yesterday, and dude, it took us 30 minutes maybe to replace it, maybe 40. And we got it. It's working, dude. It's perfect, like the fence and the gate aren't in great shape, but we never wanted them replaced. We're going to replace the whole fence at some point in the next year or two,
Okay.
that was always the plan with this, which is why we were looking for somebody to just do this cheap, 200 $300, something like that. But we're going to end up doing this ourselves for 40, and so we're going to be working on the other gate and then some other pieces that are busted up like over the weekend, possibly. And here we go. Just endeavor to do it yourselves, guys. I am the last person that would have ever seen myself fixing a fucking fence, but here I am. It's 2020, and here I am fixing a damn fence. So if I can do it, you guys can fucking do it for sure. I am the whitest of white boys with this stuff. I don't know how to do
The
anything before I moved
whitest
in.
of white
Dude,
boys.
I didn't know how to do anything before I moved into my house. The amount of shit I know how to do now compared to like 3 years ago or 2.5 years ago when I moved into my house, like it's ridiculous, dude. Like I've gained so much knowledge. So, like I said, if I can do it, you can do it. And I would just recommend that. Don't let these fence fuckers take you for a ride, because every goddamn one of them just it's horrible. It's horrible out there. Absolutely horrible. I mean, obviously, this is anecdotal. This could just be my area, but it was really bad. So fuck them. I'm not dealing with them. So there was that. Did a lot of other stuff around the house. We put up some shelving in one of our rooms, and then we just finished putting our Christmas lights up outside. And I'm very proud of our setup this year, Montreal. Very proud of it. It looks like it's come together after 3 years.
Yeah.
Slowly building it up, putting some new stuff in. So I've had a busy week. I am off, but it's been a busy week despite that.
Yeah, you
So
never take a day off.
hey man, what are you gonna do? Dude, you're gonna learn this when you get a house. You don't get to have a day off when you own a home. Like there is always something wrong. Always something that you have to fix, or some project that you want to do, something like that. It's just it's funny to be an adult now and have that perspective, because when you're a kid and you're watching your parents do this with a house, do the same thing with a house, and you're like, God, like, oh, they never do anything except for like, fix shit around the house or whatever, or do some dumb project. It's like, well, here I am. I'm at Home Depot and I'm excited to go into Home Depot.
Yeah.
I'm old. We're old, man. We're old. It is what
Yeah,
it is.
I don't know. I mean, that's great, actually. Shit, I'm gonna say that sucks, but nothing happened bad, so that's great, actually.
Yeah, no, I'm having a better week than I was last week or the week before.
I did
Definitely.
I
But
did have a little question.
yeah, sure. Go for it.
This is like totally unrelated to that. But how do you feel about? I know one person probably listening should probably get upset, but I'm sorry, Jackie.
Yeah.
How do you feel about? Even though she was just playing, this is not about her, but other people were coming at me about we were talking about I was talking about Final Fantasy VII earlier this week. I don't know if you saw that on my
Uh,
timeline.
a little bit.
With Nomura and
Oh
him,
yeah, 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 yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
him being the director and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
And Cyberpunk, I was talking about that today, but it didn't get as bad as the Nomura thing.
I mean, you do
But
tweet things just to trigger people. I
I
mean,
did,
that's your
but the
MO, I'm
Nomura
sure.
thing is like that's deep seated. We all know that's
The
deep seated.
Nomura thing? No, yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
The more thing is deep seated.
yeah,
It's an ongoing struggle with me. It's a roller coaster. Sometimes I'm like I'm praising him, and then sometimes I'm like you are, you mother.
yeah,
But I want to talk about I guess again like just for like maybe 5 or 10 minutes
yeah,
hype culture
yeah.
because I am really dehyped about, and I don't know maybe it's my mood this week, but I completely forgot Cyberpunk comes out in like 2 weeks. I
Me
think.
too, dude. I still don't believe it's coming out. I mean, I'm waiting for the next delay, dude. But okay, I want to talk about Final Fantasy VII real quick though, because
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
the one specifically that I agree with your take on Final Fantasy VII Remake Part Two, because we said this when we reviewed that game and when we talked about that game in depth and we did our spoilers discussion about that game, is that that game in a vacuum is phenomenal. Part
Yes.
one, fucking phenomenal. Like,
Yes.
it's one of the best games I've ever played. Straight up. I'm not even kidding. Like, when I say that, you know? And
No
I
facts.
can't
Yeah.
believe that Nomura was the one directing that game. I
Yeah, he
can't
didn't
believe
write
that.
the game. I did get that wrong. He
Okay.
directed the game, but the director is an all-encompassing person. They have to push
Yeah.
stuff through him. It's going through his vision, if that
Yeah,
makes any
and
sense.
dude, if you think he had no influence on the story, I mean, come on, like, I mean, this is Nomura we're talking about. But the thing is, the end of that game becomes very Kingdom Hearts ish, and
That's where I'm scared
it,
of.
it, it can't it cannot be denied that that is the case. And I don't know if Jackie has played Kingdom Hearts, but like, you'll understand what we're saying if you have. And it's just that side of it is that it's set up well at the end. I
It
think
is.
I
It
think
is.
the setup is good. It's just, I mean, Kingdom Hearts 3 was set up well though, and it was set up for 10 years, and it turned out to be a giant poop pile, when it came out. And I know people disagree with us on that, but that's the thing. I don't know if I trust him to execute. And and maybe part 2 will be good. It's possible part 2 will also be really good, and then
Yeah.
part 3 won't. That's what
It,
I'm worried about. I don't know if
it's
he's going to be able to finish.
yeah. I'm scared. My whole thing is the reason I'm scared of it is because I know people are like, well, it has to go through like three different things before it even reaches final production, which DJ was explaining to me. And DJ was agreeing with me too. He was like, the director is a person that has some involvement with the writer, and the director is more important than the lead writer, as far as video games and film. But I just thought it was interesting because um, I kind of got educated on the Final Fantasy 15. But I didn't really get educated. I got reminded because I was really fuzzy because I remember we even talked about it on the show Final Fantasy
Hmm.
15 how Tabata left when the
Yep.
DLCs was coming out and everything of
Right.
that nature. And
Yeah. Well, no, so this is what happened with that. From what I remember, is that Tabata was not the original director of that game.
Nomura was.
Nomura was, and he came in mid development and had to finish the game basically, because I
Yeah.
think Nomura was moving on to Kingdom Hearts 3. And that, whatever the case, it ended up being the game it was when it launched.
Yeah, exactly.
And like, we're just speculating. We were speculating. We don't know what happened there behind the scenes, but clearly there were some issues. I mean, I don't think even the people that give a shit about our opinion on Final Fantasy 15, I don't think you guys can deny the game had problems when it came out. Whether you liked
Eh,
it despite those problems or not is a different discussion. But it,
so like not talking to my immediate group of friends, but on Twitter, everyone was like, the Final Fantasy community unanimously agrees that Final Fantasy 15 was a disaster, and I'm like, what? This is news to me. I
yeah,
did not know that. I didn't
yeah,
know that everyone in the Final Fantasy, because I'm not in the Final Fantasy community. I just play the games. I don't really deep dive into it. I'm
me
in the
either.
kingdom. I mean, I can say I'm in the Kingdom Hearts community. I don't post any forums, but I do go on forums and read theories about Kingdom
Yeah,
Hearts.
yeah,
Um, but like Final Fantasy, I just play each one because each one's a separate world, so I didn't really deep dive into each game like that.
right, right.
Um, but I didn't know that people were like, "Yo, this game is bad." Like, I thought people were like, "Yo, this game's actually pretty good. Like, I love it. Oh my god."
No,
Um,
I think you had an anecdotal situation with some people
yeah,
you're friends with that like
yeah.
the game, like because yeah, my understanding is that most people actually hate that game too.
Okay.
That was that's why I was so surprised that there was so much pushback, that we were getting from our opinions on that game. But because yeah, largely the internet at large, I know a lot of people felt exactly like me about it. That the game came out in a really bad state. It felt really unfinished, and then all of a sudden, all this DLC is coming out, filling all these gaps that should have just been there,
Yeah.
and that's frustrating. So,
And then yeah, so um I did just want to correct that, like, I don't think Final Fantasy 15 or 7 rather is bad. I thought the game was really good. I just have this is me that was me speculating on the timeline saying like I don't trust Nomura as far as I can throw him. Like he's like a kid, right?
yeah,
Like a I don't know if I can say a kid, but he's like someone where like if you have their eyes on them, they're doing really well. Like they're like the best. As
yeah,
soon as you take your eyes off of them, they
yeah,
go crazy, and you're like,
yeah,
what the fuck just happened? And that's
yeah,
how I feel about Nomura. I feel like Square Enix has to like keep their eye on him,
yeah.
and then he can do well. But if they just let him do
Have free
Nomura
reign,
things,
right?
yeah, like then things go crazy. And I'm scared because I think what they did with this game is they did have eyes on Nomura this game because it is Final Fantasy
Well,
7.
it's such an important game for Square, like so
Yeah.
important, unbelievably so. We're gonna talk about this later, actually, with them, but yeah,
Okay.
it was a
Um,
really
but
important game.
um, but I feel like on the second one they may give him a little bit more freedom. Even if the publisher has to approve all the writings and everything of that nature, it's
Yeah,
like I don't know. I like I like where they're going with it, like having like a dual reality or like a split timeline or something. Because obviously, we also spoiler alert: Zach comes back or he's carrying Cloud. So it's like it's a
mhm.
in a different dimension though. So it's like we know what's going to happen, but we don't know what's going to happen. The second thing is I just want to briefly talk about hype culture.
Yeah,
Um, Now for Cyberpunk, when I say de-hype or anti-hype, I don't think there's nothing wrong with being. I can be a skeptical person and still be hyped about the game. I was
yeah,
like that with Monster Hunter. I
yeah,
was really skeptical of it because I wasn't sure. Like we saw things and certain things were explained until we actually played the game. Um, and I'm the same way with this game. Uh, I just I'm super dehyped for the game, not because of the delays, but from what I physically see and read, what they told me, things were removed from the game. And the gameplay I did see is like not engaging. I mean, it
yeah,
was engaging, but I don't think I'm gonna like the direction, but that's only when I play the game. I
right.
watched the final preview of the game, and they say from what the IGN guy was saying, the final preview came out like 6 or 7 days ago. That he played through the entire game, but he didn't really give a review. But he was saying that the game is a true RPG in a sense where if you're gonna go into it playing it like an action game, then you're gonna be disappointed. And you know what?
Mm.
I agree with that. Maybe I'm looking at this game from the wrong lens as an action
Yeah,
game.
I think that was always the hype, though. That's where the hype came from, dude. Is that they were gonna marry the two together, and that's always what the game's like peak potential was to me, was that it was going to be an RPG that had amazing action combat at the same time,
Yeah.
like, and to hear that that's not the case that is disappointing, because that puts it in the realm of like Mass Effect or something like that, and that's, I mean, that's probably like, it could still be an amazing game and have an incredible story and all this stuff, but I think that is, they're leaving a little bit on the table there, and I think their handling of this whole thing is just as like, I am also dehyped for this game. Like you said, it's coming out in like 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks, and I don't even care. Like I'm legitimately, I'm not sure I'm buying it. in December. Like if it actually comes out, I don't know if I care because they're not having the games on PS5 at launch, and I
Yeah,
don't want
exactly.
some I
That's
don't
my
want a
key
PS4
thing.
version that's upscaled to for PS. Like fuck that shit. Like I mean, admittedly, some of the games have had really amazing upscaling for from PS4 to PS5, so maybe it's not going to be that big of an issue and the game will play amazing, but it's just the way they've talked about it is like they're making me feel like I kind of should just wait until it's native on PS5. And I'm going to be honest, like that's probably what I'm going to do. And that's disappointing for a game like this for me. So,
Yeah, you're going to have to go in like immediate blackout because it's going
oh
to be
yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah, which dude, I'm going to be honest too with them. They're kind of annoying me because this isn't like Nintendo releasing Xenoblade Chronicles 2 or Xenoblade Chronicles X on December 8th or December 10th, whenever it came out. It's not the same thing. Those games are not huge games. They're not going to dominate the media cycle. There's a very small niche community that's really into those games. I'm part of that. But this game, though, Cyberpunk, this is a AAA game that has more hype than any game probably has had this generation. And this game is going to be all over my timeline. It's going to be all over my Google feed. It's going to be all over YouTube. It's going to be fucking everywhere. And if I'm not playing it, I'm not going to want a piece of it. And even if I am playing it, I'm not going to want a piece of it because I don't want to get spoiled. So like this timing is really annoying because this is the time, the end of November, like the middle part of November, that is the last point where I really want big games coming out for the year. I don't
Yeah,
want big games coming out in December. Like because I want to be playing other shit. I want to. That's the time I get through my backlog. That's the time I'm finishing up games for Game of the Year for this podcast or whatever. That's when I'm doing that, and I don't know. I'm just kind of annoyed with them. Like just fucking push it. And this is a selfish thing for me, admittedly. Like this probably doesn't affect a lot of people, but like just like for me, I really wish they had just pushed it to April or March. March or April, something like that. And here we are. We're going to be talking about this game in 2 weeks when it comes out, if it comes out, and I don't really want to be, you know,
yeah.
they, yeah. So
I don't know. I agree with you. I think they should. I don't see. I don't want to say they should push it back, but the simple fact that the only people that will be experiencing a next gen experience is PC people. Um,
right,
I mean that kind of sucks. Like,
yeah,
I mean, I guess you can say Xbox is going to have a better upscale version of the PS5 to what I'm reading.
yeah,
But I don't know. I just been really dehyped. I watched it, and I'm like, well, approaching it from a Mass Effect, like Mass Effect One in particular,
right,
I can see that, right? I can see like, okay, the story and environment and storytelling and everything, just setting up everything is amazing. But the gameplay is like it'll get you through, but that's obviously not their key focus. But I feel like games, especially like The Witcher, Mass Effect 2, Mass Effect 3, uh, and other RPGs, Mankind Divided or
yeah,
Deus Ex,
yeah,
they had a really good way of meshing action RPG elements, action and RPG. They did really fine well. And I feel like they had a template from all these games to how to do that.
mm,
And I don't know. I just feel very underwhelmed by the combat that I did see. Like,
yeah,
there's not any like. It's not. It, I don't know. It doesn't feel futuristic to me. Like when I watch it, like yeah, you get a katana, but like that's so cliche, cyberpunkish. Like
yeah, yeah,
throw some cool cliche shit in there. Let me spawn robots every fucking where or duplicates of myself. I don't fucking know. Just go crazy with it. But
yeah. Like
within the realm
you
of that world, that makes any sense.
yeah, like fuck, dude. Like, yeah, little remote control robots or mirror images of yourself, or fucking things like that. That you can um, that are a little bit more gameplay dynamic. Like a katana is like it sounds cool, but what it's going to end up being is you're going to have probably skills that give you very heavy damage mitigation. So you're just walking through a bunch of bullets, like getting shot, and you're just swinging your sword at people as you walk up to them. It's like it's not going to be anything dynamic or interesting, really. That's kind of the impression I'm getting. From what you're saying and what I've also seen out there as well, and some of the coverage I've looked at, like it doesn't. I don't know. And that it's a problem that that's the case. Like this game,
See,
they almost
I
set
don't
up an
want to harp on
expectation that
it.
it wouldn't be that way, you know?
Yeah, I don't want to harp on it because that may be the case. I mean, that may not be the case. The case may
Yeah.
be that, it has all these things that we're talking about. So it's like, but they haven't shown me, like they haven't shown me late game. Like, you know how some games they'll show you now, which is a really good trend that was starting on last gen going into this gen.
Yeah.
Uh Sometimes they'll show you late gameplay, like how your combat will look as opposed from early game to late game. And I
Mhm.
really like that, especially in long games. Like for me, Witcher is one of those games where your combat drastically changes from early game to late game. Like
Oh, absolutely.
you're more fluent, your character's
Yep.
more fluent, you have more powerful spells at your demand. It almost plays like a action game. I consider that a true RPG game with
Yeah.
action game elements. But at the end of the Witcher, when you start getting towards there, because I'm getting towards there myself, it's like um my gameplay has totally changed on what I do, how I approach things, and everything of that nature. So I think they need to show that, like how your gameplay will change, like as opposed to being a level one, I don't know, infiltrator or whatever the fuck they
Yeah.
call it,
Yep.
to a level 20 infiltrator or whatever. Because Dragon Age does that. Like Rogue is very fucking trash in Dragon Age until you get like level fucking 15 or 20, and then your character just becomes fucking amazing. You can one
Yeah.
shot people and stuff like that. So it's
Yeah.
like, um, I don't know. It's just,
Well,
it's just,
have they shown equipment at all either? Because that's a very important part of this game. If it's a as an RPG ish as it's going to be.
I will have to
So,
research like the
because I
long
don't think so,
gameplays. I will
dude.
have to research. They do have 45-minute gameplay and stuff like
That's
that up there.
true.
I
There
have
was
to
a little
research
bit of
that.
it
Yeah,
in there, but I don't remember. They've not done a deep dive though on equipment or anything like that. So that's kind of my problem. Is like they've shown us a lot, but they haven't shown us. I don't know. It hasn't been. It's just not in the ways that that would make me hype. I guess I guess showing your game for 45 minutes might be a disadvantage. Is like you almost want to make me like keep my imagination going a little bit more. Like let me fill in the gaps.
yeah, exactly.
And I don't know. I'm also just worried about this game from a technical angle, because that's the reason this game's been delayed so many times is because it's struggling to run on PS4 and Xbox One, and that's not gone away. I doubt they fixed that, to 100% fix that. There's probably they probably if they're ready to launch in December, it's possibly at an acceptable level, that they think it's shippable,
Yeah,
but that doesn't mean the game's going to be buttery smooth, and that's a big problem. And that honestly could hinder this game in terms of critical reception, could really hinder this game big time, especially for fan reception. If because I mean, the vast majority of people are going to be playing this game on PS4 and Xbox One, and maybe they have the Pro and the Xbox One X, but even so, it's not going to be that much better on those than the
yeah,
base models. And if that's the case, like that, and the game doesn't run well, that is going to reflect in the reception of the game. So I don't know.
yeah.
We'll see.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm just, I can't,
You you
I
feel a
can't.
way. You feel a certain way about it.
I do. It's just, it's not bad or good. It's just like, meh. Like
It
that.
is, yeah. It's meh. It's turned into meh. That's where I'm at
Yeah,
too. I'm at the same spot. I'm just kind of like, whatever. I'll play other shit. I'm more
yeah.
excited to play
'Cause
Mass Effect
I
again.
want it to be good. Like that's the
Yeah.
crazy part. Like I want it to be like,
Hmm.
holy shit. Like I've been waiting for a cyberpunk game forever. In general, just in that genre.
Yeah.
Um, but it's like I don't think this is going to be the game for me, which is
Yeah.
wild. But whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, and also like all the shit like that crazy character creator they've shown where you can like customize fucking everything about it. It's like the game's a first person game, you know? Can I even see my character in cutscenes like when I'm talking to people? Because if I can't, then what's even the point of doing all that customization? I don't know. It's kind of questionable
Yep.
to me, but it is what it is. We'll find out. We'll see. I mean, honestly, when the game comes out, it could turn out that I'm sitting at home and I'm just like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm buying Cyberpunk and we're just doing
I
this.
think
So
that's what's gonna happen to me. I think I'm gonna
yeah,
just
yeah,
end up buying it just to see, and then if it's not to my liking, I'll probably just return it or whatever. That's why I buy it physical and just return it and be like, get my $20-$30 back off of it,
yeah. Right, right.
and then just wait for like the PS5 version or something like that.
Yep. Fair enough. All right. Okay. I haven't done the rigmarole yet. So
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry. For those of you who haven't listened before, it's 25 minutes in. This is our weekly show where we talk about video games, video game news, and other topics pertaining to video games. We post at 6 a.m. Central Time on Fridays on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and your favorite podcast app of choice. Let us start, like we always do, with video games that we've been playing. Montrell, do you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
You can go first.
Okay, I'll go first. I don't have a ton to talk about. So I've been playing Genshin Impact still, for sure. I'm still really into this game. I've pretty much exhausted all the content in the game at this point, so I'm really just grinding levels and stuff on my characters, and weapons. And there's an event going on right now that's actually pretty cool. They're giving a lot of important items away in that event, so that's been pretty nice. The game is still amazingly smooth on PS5. Also been playing Apex some more, Apex Legends. Not much more to say here either. We are getting better. We're getting back to the point where I feel like we're good again. So the domination will come. We are getting really close to winning a shitload of games every night. Like we're making second place, third place like a ton. But we keep fucking up in that like final. We are getting some wins. I'm not saying we aren't getting any, but we could be getting a lot more. There were times back in May, we were winning like 9 games a night or something like that. It was psychotic. It was crazy. Also been playing World of Warcraft. Shadowlands came out yesterday. I did dabble in that for about an hour and a half. I almost gained a level in that period of time. Not much to say so far. It's really been very story heavy. This first level is incredibly story heavy. The game just railroads you. There's no real there's not like you don't get to explore really at this point in the game. So I will say I do want to talk about this briefly though, is that this game has definitely flipped. I think this is where World of Warcraft kind of lost a lot of people and gained a lot of other people over the years, is that when WoW first came out, for the first couple expansions, I'd say even through Lich King, World of Warcraft was an MMO that was very player focused. The story was built by the players. Like what happened on the server was kind of player centric. You made your own stories. That's kind of what the game was. And then
Yeah.
I think at some point in Cataclysm or Pandaria, somewhere around there, the game kind of flipped and it turned into a game that wasn't about the player anymore. It was about NPCs. It was about the characters in the world of Warcraft. And that's kind of what this game is now, is that my character's there and they try to make you feel important or everything like that, but you don't have any voice lines. Your character never says anything. Everyone always calls you champion or whatever the fuck generic term they can come up with, because they can't say your name. So it's literally like you're running around with all these like iconic legendary heroes in Warcraft, and they're all doing this cool shit, and you're like the one who's just like there. It's so weird to me. So it's like I don't hate it. I'm a little bit more tolerant of it than I think I used to be. It's just I think it's because Final Fantasy 14 kind of turned me on to that, because that game is really similar in that regard. You are kind of, I think you're a little bit more center stage in Final Fantasy 14 than what I'm saying, but
Yeah, you're
to
a
be
little bit
honest,
on like the chosen one path in that
yeah,
game. If
but
that makes
you're
any
kind
sense.
of a vehicle for the other characters to do the things they need to do.
Yeah, yeah.
In that game. That's what I remember the story. Now, I haven't played any of the expansions. I will say that Final Fantasy 14, so that may have changed over the years. That was my impression of the original game story. So that's kind of what World of Warcraft is at now. And I will say leveling too. It's kind of weird. I'm not sure what if maybe I just can't see it yet because I'm not high enough level, but like it doesn't look like they added any new abilities or anything to my class, so I'm not really sure. I might be wrong about that, but I didn't see it in the interface anywhere. So if that's the case, that's going to be really disappointing, to be honest with you. So I'll have more to say though. I am planning on getting to 60 and doing some dungeon content and kind of grinding gear out and stuff. Montreal, did you ever pick this up over the weekend, or
No, I'm gonna pick it
no?
up. Actually, I'm gonna do it this weekend. I just didn't have the time this weekend to do it.
Okay,
So,
fair enough.
um, yeah, I was playing my PS5, so I was like, I didn't touch anything but my PS5, but
Yeah.
and other stuff. But yeah,
Um. So yeah. And the last thing I've been playing, I don't know why this happened, but
I looked at it and I'm like, oh, okay.
I know. I reinstalled Fire Emblem Heroes on my phone. So I was on YouTube and I saw a video that piqued my interest from an old YouTuber that I used to watch when I played this game. And there's a new mode that came out, and the mode's actually really fucking cool. Actually, it's called Pawns of Loki, and it's an interesting mode. It uses your units, and there's like a currency system. You kind of have to build a party from your available units or whatever. And it's kind of hard to explain, but it was a cool mode. So I ended up kind of getting back into this game. I don't know what's wrong with me. I think I have a degenerate problem, but like
I
I
think you have
actually
an
like
addictive personality.
I dude, I think I just like gotcha games. I don't think there's any other way to say it at
Oh
this
my
point.
god.
There's something wrong with me, man. There's something wrong with me. I'm having fun playing this game. Like I don't know why, but I'm not in the throes of it the way I was. It's not the way I used to be with it, where I was like obsessed with the game. It's
Yeah.
like I feel very detached from this game right now, where I'm like I turn it on for 10 minutes or whatever and just play a little bit when I'm like doing something, like waiting for something to load or something, or download or something like that. So I'm not like playing it obsessively, but so I'm having fun with it. The game's kind of crazy now. There's so much shit in it. There's tons of content I never played, like all sorts of free shit for me to get. It's like, fuck, I don't have to. I don't have to do it. Like I don't have to do anything. I can just play this game, and I have tons of summoning currency, like just sitting around. It's good. So yeah, I'm playing that again. We'll see how long it lasts. I'm sure I'll get burned out on it at some point. But for now, I'll give it a shot. So, Montreal, what about you? What have you been playing, man?
I'm kind of gonna start from the bottom up. I've been playing Spider-Man Remastered. Kind of got burnt out of Spidey. I love
Hey,
the
Spider
game.
Man.
Yeah, I kind of got burnt out. Because Miles Morales was like a nice little bite-sized experience, and then I went to Spider-Man Remastered, and that is not the case. This game is fucking huge.
Nope. Yep. Humongous.
Yeah, so kind of got a little burnt out of it, and I was like, maybe I just need to play some other games in between this game while I'm doing that, but nothing I want to start a story or anything like that. So they had Battlefield 5 on sale for the deluxe edition for about $15, so I bought it. 'Cause I did have it on Xbox, but I don't have it on PS5, so I bought
Yep.
it for about $15 or whatever. And I played it, and I'm not disappointed with it. I'm like,
Okay.
but I paid $15 for it, so
Well,
and I
it's
didn't play it
also a
on launch.
robust game now, right?
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
I was gonna say that I was like, I did, and it's not launch. And they also released some other maps, like they released the Pacific campaign for America and Japan when they were in war with each other in World War II. But I will say, I vastly disagree. One thing I always was quiet about was the alternate type of history thing they did with it. I
Mm-hmm.
actually don't mind it to a certain
Yeah.
extent. um when you're playing the game, somehow it feels right when there are women dying next to me and I'm a woman character, I'm maybe a medic or something like that, and I hear them on the battlefield speaking German or whatever the case. It doesn't really take away from the reality to me. Like it's almost like a cool, like, what if this did happen? Like, what if women were on the front lines, which some were on the Russian side.
Yeah.
Um um but what if women on all points of the army were, um, on the front lines? Oh, and also, another thing I did like that they added was, um, that a lot of World War II games don't really add is black characters and black soldiers, which did
Mm-hmm.
fight in the war.
Yeah.
I should know had a couple of family members, so it's like
Yeah.
they were in the war, and that's kind of glossed over in every war pick we see and everything like that.
Yeah.
Only until recently, so they did add that feature as well, and I kind of like that. Um, so it's a nice little alternate. They're not altering history per se, but they're just like, it's like a what if type deal.
I
Um,
mean, like, why do we like? I don't know. Why do we have such a problem with them doing that too? By the way, these are video games, guys. Like, unless
well,
the game is endeavoring to be hyper like realistic to the T, of history, that they never said they were doing that. So why are we holding them to that standard?
yeah.
I don't
Now
really have
we
a
were.
problem with it.
I remember them being upset, and me and you were talking about it, and we were like, "Oh well, the prosthetic arm thing, like that was
Yeah,
kind of
that
crazy." That was
Okay,
crazy.
yeah, yeah, right, right.
Um,
But
I
having women in there, like, come on,
Yeah,
dude, like,
that I we always
whatever.
get on the other side
Yeah,
of the fence with that. Like
yeah,
that, I thought that was really crazy because even you can play as Native American characters when you're on the US side, and I thought
yeah,
I'm like, holy shit! Like there are rarely any games that let you play as Native American people, so it's like that was really cool, as well. So I mean, I just thought it was really cool and diverse. It didn't take away from the experience for me. I guess I guess I can feel a certain way if I was white and this hasn't been the
mhm.
case, but it is now. I, I
I mean,
I'm trying to
come on,
look at the other side of
can
it.
we, yeah, can we be honest about that for a second though? I feel
Like,
like this whole argument though from that side of the coin is literally, it's like veiled racism. Like they aren't being honest about why they're mad. They're not mad about. They really. I sincerely doubt they're actually angry that history's being altered. Blah 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 blah. You know, I think most of those people probably are just closet fucking sexist motherfuckers. Like
yeah,
that's my opinion. Like I really think that's the case on most of them. You know,
yeah.
um,
But I mean,
and
I like it. So I mean, I haven't really had any issues with it. I think the
yeah,
one thing that did turn this game off was because one of the creators did say like just don't play the game or some shit like that, and that turned a lot of people off the game.
yeah,
Um,
that was a bad move.
yeah, I do agree with that, but the game itself, right now, as the state it's in now, is really good. I like it. It gives me the Battlefield itch that I have, and I hope the next one does go more modern. But yeah, I like it, and I've been playing Destiny 2. So they didn't. I bought the game. The game is actually free to play.
Yeah, yeah.
I did buy the expansion though. It was $30,
Hmm.
and so far they explained the story in a way to where when you first play Destiny 2, like kind of none of that shit matters.
Right.
And you can actually play it from where they killed Cade 6.
Okay.
That's where like the whole expansion start or the new version of Destiny starts. Uh, and I'll be honest with you, the story, the first mission, if you played Destiny 1, um, that first mission that you played with Cade and he dies in that mission, um,
Hmm.
you feel it because he had all his personality, all his quirks was in that first mission. You were like doing the mission with him, and then you guys get separated, and then he dies. But throughout that whole mission, you're like, man, fucking Cade is fucking cool, and then he just dies. And I did feel some type of way, even coming back to it like years later. I felt some type of way when he died. I think they did a good job with that.
Well, he's a good character, man.
Yeah, he
Nope.
is.
Nathan Fillion, I mean, played him, and he was really good.
Yeah.
you know, so
So I thought that was pretty cool. I am going through the old content right now. But did want to touch on this in comparison to Cyberpunk. The only comparison I have, or the comparison I want to make, is this is how you do a first person RPG with crazy shit. I forgot how good this game feels. Um,
yeah,
and they even make you feel really cool when it comes out of when it goes into third person mode temporarily, like say you do a dodge or something like that and your
yeah,
person does a spin and go invisible and then they go right back into first person, like that's how you can do that. And I think that's the route. Well, obviously they can't do it now, but that's the route they should have went with Cyberpunk. Maybe they do that, but that's how you can do a game like that. You have all these cool abilities and stuff like that. Um, Even when I'm in first person, like the warlock, he teleports and he teleports in first person, but it doesn't feel like
yeah.
I'm first person. If that makes any sense, it feels like I know where my movement is as a character and everything like that. So it's
Hmm.
like cool stuff they're doing in that game. I just forgot because I haven't played Destiny so fucking long. How cool first person can be in an RPG world with crazy
Yeah.
fucking powers.
Well, Deus Ex does that too, man. You
Yeah,
remember Mankind Divided? Well, I don't think you played Mankind Divided,
I
but
played
I think the older.
Revolution. That's the one.
Okay, yeah, and I think that game did this too. Is like when you do like a stealth kill, the game goes third person and like shows you doing the full like stealth kill animation. It's not this clunky like first person where you like grab them slowly and then you shove a knife in and it's like no, it's like a third person animation. And I will say on PS4 it didn't play very well; it was really stuttery, but I'm sure on PC it was great. But point being is that it was cool though. It felt cool. You saw Jensen like do his moves, and
Yeah,
like it wasn't completely restricted to first person. So I know what you mean, and maybe Cyberpunk has some of that.
yeah,
We'll see. But
yeah. But
but
yeah,
Destiny 2 though, dude, I was saying this I think it was last week. The game fucking feels incredible. Like I remember playing that game, and I'm sure it's even better now. So
yeah, it is.
yeah.
So they didn't release the patch update for it yet, but I did buy a new TV. 'Cause I didn't have a 4K TV for the longest. But I just
Mm-hmm.
bought me one,
Mm-hmm.
and holy shit, it's like a night and day difference. PlayStation 5 runs this game well, and it shows it really fucking well on his TV.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, like, I have the Samsung TV, and it has
Mm-hmm.
HDR and
Mm-hmm.
UHD and all that
Yeah.
crap and all that stuff like that, and, yeah, this game, like, it's such a night and day difference playing your PS5 on a HD TV, because I had an HD TV, and then playing it on a 4K TV. Like, this game or this console takes full advantage of the TV,
Mm-hmm.
and you have a 4K TV too, right?
Yep, I think I have the same. You probably the same one I do.
Okay.
It's one of the higher end Samsungs.
Yeah. And yeah, it's fucking incredible. Like I can't wait for I'm about to buy Demon Souls and I can't wait to see how that shit looks.
Ooh, God, I want to play that game just to see how it looks. Just to see how it looks, because dude, even on a fucking stream, it looked amazing. I'm just like, God, I'm like fanboying so hard about it. I don't know why. I just never seen a game look that good, man. It's like shit.
Yeah,
I don't
and
know.
I'm running Destiny 2 and it's still in third. At certain points it goes 60 frames.
Mhm.
But it's still 30 frames. It's locked at 30 frames. But it looks like the game tries to unlock it. So, but they are going to release a patch on the 8th where it goes into the next gen version of it. And it looks really good now. Like the textures and everything, whatever they did now looks really fucking good. I can't wait for it to release the 4K textures with 60 frames and all that stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I'm waiting for that. But yeah, that's all I've been playing though.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, let us know how Demon Souls looks next week or whenever you get it.
All right, cool.
Dude, I'm so excited. Okay, let's get into the news. We got a few stories this week to get through. First one is Apple related. So this is not directly gaming related, but we've been talking about the Apple versus Epic stuff for a few months now, so figured we'd talk about this. So Apple announced they're going to be cutting the commission that they take from app developers as part of a new program called the Small Business Program, and this is going to affect developers that earn less than $1 million a year from their applications. So they're only going to be taking 15% from those developers versus 30%, and that is going to be a permanent change, which goes into effect on January 1st.
Hmm.
So, um, I don't, I mean, I don't necessarily think this is necessarily like a direct correlation with the case with Epic, but what do you think about this, Montrell? Do you think this is a portent of things to come, or do you think Apple is just trying to get more people on the platform?
I think I think Epic is applying some kind of pressure. And this is
Yeah,
trying to and I think this is an attempt to look save face and be like, hey, like we're consumer friendly or developer friendly too, because I think that's what Epic's whole drive is. Like they're not or developer friendly at all.
yeah,
You guys should uh take issue with this because I thought I saw a quote or maybe it was a tweet or somebody was talking about it. Maybe I was talking about it with you or I don't know. Or is his name Tim Sweeney?
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
Tim
the
Sweeney.
Epic CEO.
Yeah, said like this is like fighting civil rights or some shit like that. Or
Yeah.
it
Oh
was
my god.
some really bad take, and I'm like,
Yeah, I don't know about that, dude.
yeah. But I understand why people are up in arms for Apple, but I mean, I don't think this is going to be. This is not like a major development. Like
Yeah.
it should have been that did this, in my opinion.
Well, Apple spun this, of course. They were like, this will benefit the vast majority of developers on the platform. And it's like, okay, but how much revenue does that vast majority actually make for you? That this is like, is this 5% maybe of how much money is made in the App Store? It's like, come on, guys. Like, let's not be fucking, stupid here. But I think the cynical side of me looks at this actually as it's more beneficial to Apple, because if I'm right and this only affects like a very small portion of their bottom line, this actually could help them get more developers on the platform, because once you hit a million, like once you have made more than $1 million in the year, the 30% rate kicks back in for the entire rest of that year. So it's like this is an easy way to get people on the platform, I think, that have the potential to maybe make more money at some point, and then all of a sudden Apple's going to be making a shitload of money. So it's like, I don't know. I don't look at this as some like win for the little guy. I mean, it kind of is, but at the end of the day, I don't think Apple would be doing this if it wasn't they didn't see some benefit to it, because that's kind of how they operate, honestly. So, but I mean, on the other side of that coin, the pressure that Epic's applying might have had something to do with this. So it's maybe there's a little bit of change, a little bit of change here, but I think it's really going to take legislation or Apple losing this case to Epic for real change to happen. Because if they win this case against Epic, frankly, I think that is going to solidify their viewpoint, and they are never going to change at that point until something else happens. So yeah, we'll see. But good for the little developers. Instead of giving Apple 300,000 of your million, you're giving them 150,000 now.
Also, I think they feel really bad about that incident where they shut down everything.
Oh yeah,
Which I completely
yeah,
forgot about. But I think that was another thing that they feel really bad about, or trying to save face, because that was really fucking bad when they just shut down, development for Unreal on their platform,
yeah,
stuff like that. So
yeah, yeah. That was a bad look. Bad
yeah,
look. Okay, let's move on to our next story. So this actually happened like 3 hours ago from when we're recording. Daniel Ahmad on Twitter. His name is I think it's Zuge, but it's
you keep
spelled like
trying
Z
to.
huge EX. I don't know how to pronounce it. He released a list of games that were banned today by India's government, and they were all Chinese developed apps. And I don't. I guess I'll go through the full list here. Mobile Legends, Clash of Kings, Hago Play, Cyber Hunter, Cyber Hunter Lite, Knives Out, Super Mecha Champions, Life After, Dawn of Isles, Ludo World, Chess Rush, PUBG Mobile Lite, Rise of Kingdoms, Art of Conquest, Dank Tanks, Warpath, Game of Sultans, Karam Friends, Ludo All Star,
You can
Bike
just name like the
Racing.
major ones, like Arena of Valor, I believe,
Yeah,
Mafia,
AFK Arena. That's a big
AFK
one.
Arena. That's a
Road of
big one.
Kings. Let's see. Marvel Super War. Arena of Valor. That's a big
Yeah,
one. That's really most of the big ones.
yeah.
Um,
What's interesting about this is because I've been following this, like, just from my personal. I don't know why this took interest with me.
yeah,
Um, I never knew that China and India had a huge issue with each other.
yeah,
And they've been actually skirmishing each other for a while this year. It's been under the radar. Um, but I believe I saw a news article about it because they came to blows and actually had casualties on one side. Um, the reason I'm scared about this is because I think me and Dennis we hung out and we were talking about just China and video games in general, how they have their hands and everything. Um, not to be political or anything like that or conspiracy theorists, but if India and China get into a war, that can cascade into a lot of other shit. And I think this is the start of that war. That's why it is
yeah,
video game related, because they're shutting down apps.
yeah,
Um, Usually when they do that, other stuff comes. It may not
yeah,
be a big deal now, but that's a huge chunk of China's market because they make a lot of money off those games. And I think China also has some kind of suit like they're we call them capital communists, but they have some kind of capitalist thing to where they can run businesses, make money, but they have to give a large portion of that or a portion of that to the government as well. So that it
yeah.
does hurt the government in the long run. But yeah, this can start something very bad, and that's why I thought it was just very interesting. Like no one, even games media, is not really covering this because uh like video games are now
Well,
used.
it's India. It's not the United States,
But
right?
yeah, but video games are now being used as a political tool or
Yeah,
a war tool or whatever you want to call it. a sanction or whatever. Like, hey, we're gonna shut down your video
Well,
game.
it's almost like a trade embargo.
Yeah.
Like it's the same thing. It's like, I mean, it's goods and services. This is services in this case, but you're blocking services from being sold in the country. And there's a total of 220 apps have been banned by India since June 28th. So this is a short time frame, 5 months, that this has all happened in. And I don't know the full list of games, but it's yeah. I mean, those are big games. PUBG Mobile's huge. AFK Arena's huge, like Clash of Kings huge. You know, these are big games. These are not negligible games. Now, there are still some apps that are not banned, but supposedly there's going to be another round of these happening. And the funny part about this is actually this is having a direct effect on other games. Is that COD Mobile wasn't banned, and that game saw a huge increase in downloads as a result of PUBG Mobile getting banned. But this is Daniel mentions this here is that Call of Duty Mobile is made by Tencent, so you know I'm sure the ban hammer for that game may be coming at some point. But
And this, I know this is only India, and a lot of people may not think of that market space as a gaming market space, but as far as mobile wise, they're in the same league. There's over like 1.5 billion people over there, and a lot of those people do have cell phones. Um, and when we talk about the eastern side of gaming, they're included in that space. So that's a
yep,
huge portion of the market just shut off to China. Like that's
yep,
not a little thing. Like we're not talking
yep.
about Japan. Japan doesn't have as many people as India does. So when you
That's
do
a
that,
tiny market.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
tiny
tiny
market
market.
comparison.
You shut off India, which is potentially one of the largest markets in the East besides China. You may can say Korea as well, but holy shit, like that's a big deal. So I thought that was very interesting, and like not too many people were talking about it, and a lot of people even skimmed over this article as well, over his tweets as well
Yeah.
about this. So, I mean, I try to keep you guys posted and see what's going on about it, but I just thought that was really interesting.
Well, I think another reason we're bringing this up too is, I mean, we talked about this something similar to this a couple months ago when Trump issued his ban to what was it, WeChat and
Yep. TikTok. Oh,
uh,
was it TikTok?
TikTok. Yeah, it was TikTok, right?
Okay.
And that um, this is relevant to us because I don't think these games are safe here in the United States. Like
Yeah.
we've already acted, and frankly, there's other countries that might do similar things here to China at some point. You know, it's like this is a political thing, but it's something that I could foresee. Like I don't think League of Legends is out of the woods, you know. Frankly, I really don't. And it's it's going to be interesting to watch, I guess, develop because China's influence in the world is it's kind of a thing for everybody that everybody needs to pay attention to, right? And I think if they get too large, you're going to start seeing this in other places as well for economic reasons, not just for like security reasons, you know, or issues between countries, you know, directly with China. Like that, I think part of that is potentially a reason we were doing it with TikTok and WeChat is economic and security wise, you know, is that they have a lot of our data. Um, so yeah, we'll the cyber element of this is not something we can ignore. So
Yeah.
we'll definitely be paying attention to this as things move
We've been
forward.
we've definitely, if you guys been, if for our loyal listeners, I think Sage, like yeah, we've definitely been covering this since the beginning of our show. So
Yeah, I mean Tencent, and you mentioned before the show, NetEase is another big one. I mean these developers have been around, or these publishers have been around, and they've had their tendrils in video games for 10 plus years, you know, and they've been slowly increasing their share of the market, and
it
it's
just
not
seems
something we
like,
can ignore.
yeah, it's just
Like,
like within the last 2 years since we started this podcast, they have made significant jumps.
yep,
And
yeah,
now their games aren't anything to like bat their games are something to bat an eye at, I should say. Because look at fucking Genshin Impact. Like,
right,
what the fuck?
exactly.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
mean,
Like,
we're at the point where we are getting extremely good video games now out of this
yeah,
country. That like it's not just mobile games, dude. Like Genshin Impact's not a mobile game. It is on mobile, but everything I've heard about this game playing it on mobile is that it sucks on mobile. Like
Yeah, it's
you
no
can
way
play it,
consoles.
you can play it, you can do the easy shit on mobile, like running around the world and collecting chests and stuff. But when you're doing hard content like bosses and Abyss, like Spiral Abyss, you can't do it on mobile. Like you have to play on PC or PlayStation. So like that's the thing. We're starting to get premium games out of them now too, and it's not just mobile. Like and they dominate the mobile space. They
Yeah,
absolutely do. But I do think we're going to start seeing it jump kind of into the more traditional space more than we've seen. I think because
yeah.
then there was what's that game Wukong? I'm forgetting the full name of it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but it's Wukong's The Black Forest or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. That game looks fucking good, dude. Like, and that's Chinese game, so
Black Myth
it's
Wukong. There you go.
yeah, right. And so I think we're gonna start seeing more of this in the coming years over the course of this generation and even after that. So it's something we'll be keeping an eye on for sure. So
Yeah.
we'll let you guys know next time something big happens. All right, let us move on to our next story. This is more of a almost like a public service announcement. But Comcast, for those of you who live in the Northeast, you know who I'm talking about. They are one of the largest ISPs in the United States. They are huge, and they are going to be instituting data caps with Xfinity customers in several states that they were not doing before. So this is the full list of states that are going to be affected starting next year with data caps: Connecticut, Delaware, Massachusetts, Maryland, Maine, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, Virginia, Vermont, West Virginia, and the District of Columbia, and then certain parts of North Carolina and Ohio. You're going to have a 1.2 terabyte data cap, which is large,
That
but
is large.
keep in mind this is related to what we've been talking about the last few weeks of game sizes bloating. When you're downloading video games and you are a digital only person, um, data caps suck. If you're downloading a 200 gigabyte game, like Call of Duty, for instance, and you have a data cap of 1.2 terabytes, well, guess what? You just use 1/6 of your monthly allotment for data, just on that one game.
Yeah, then it's
And
$10 for each for 50 gigs, which can add up
50
very fucking
gigs.
quick.
Yes, it can. Absolutely. I mean, some of the patches are 50 gigs, right? Like,
Yeah.
come on. So that's something of extreme concern, I'd say, for anybody that's has Comcast or even other ISPs. Is dude, the second I get hit with a data cap, I'm switching to whoever else I can. I don't give a shit what my
Well,
speeds are.
this is kind of all accumulating, like why I felt digital games were. I like the idea of digital games because I download them myself. I mean, you download them, we all do.
Yep. Yeah.
Uh, but I was nervous because of net neutrality going away, or
Yep.
I think it already went away, right?
It
I'm not
did.
sure.
It
I
did.
did. So yeah, they can totally do this now because net neutrality, whatever that in the end is already gone. So like I feel like all of this is like planned. Like I don't know. It's like the conspiracy theorist in me, but it's like it just makes so much sense now. Like everyone's going digital and everything of that nature, and yeah, they can just start charging you for this, and we can't do anything about it because we got rid of the plan that was designed to protect us for this. So
Right.
um, I don't know.
Yeah. And it's just,
Even when
I
you have a
mean,
disc too, like remember you still have to download the patch day one patch and stuff like
right.
that.
Yeah.
So
And I just, the idea of a data cap in general,
in this
it's
day and
such a
age,
it's such a it's such a self-created solution to a problem. Like there's no reason for a data cap to exist. Like if you have the bandwidth for everyone to use your internet service and you're not, like, everyone using it isn't causing any issues, then there shouldn't be any data caps. It's just bullshit. It's like total bullshit. So I like, and in this article that we have from PC Gamer says that Comcast, according to Comcast, only 5% of their customers hit that mark in the past 6 months. But dude, like that, okay, that's true now. But like we're talking about, these games are getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and streaming, like with 4K streaming, like 4K streaming is an extremely data intensive thing. Like 4K video is huge. Those files are huge. Anything 4K related, and eventually when we get to 8K, if that becomes a thing in the next 10 years, like, I mean, 1.2 terabytes is going to be nothing. So it's just, I don't. It's something that concerns me a lot, frankly. And I hate Comcast. They are literally one of the worst companies on the fucking planet, and they were voted so in 2010 and 2014 by consumers. So people know about these guys, but unfortunately, their influence is growing, and that is unfortunate. Like the ISP issue in the United States, it's just I wish something would be done about it because we shouldn't be at the mercy of these companies. Like they can do whatever they want, and there's nothing we can do about it. If you have no other option but Comcast, what are you going to do? Not have internet? Like you can't do that in this day and age. Especially now when coronavirus times we're all working from home, you literally can't do that. So it's just we're
I
just at their
didn't even
mercy,
think about
straight up.
that. The simple fact that they're doing this when the
Yeah,
coronavirus is still a thing.
dude, think about that. Zoom, you're using Zoom every day. That's a lot of data you're using. You're streaming that video, dude, like from multiple people. That's not negligible.
This
That adds
is
up.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's bad, dude. So maybe Comcast is taking advantage of the pandemic. Fuck them. They're assholes. I wouldn't put it past them. So, let's make some money off it. All right, let's move on. We got some more money hungry news as well. This is the dark side of the games industry we're covering this week. Fortnite has added a new subscription to the game. They announced it this morning. It's going to be an $11.99 monthly sub. The subscription is going to include 1,000 V-Bucks. It doesn't even say like monthly or what, but it's also going to come with bundles of cosmetics. And yeah, that seems to be it. So that's to me a
So
pretty bad,
what is
pretty bad,
this?
pretty bad deal. But go ahead.
Like, what is this? That's what I'm asking. Like, is it just that? Is like a Fallout First thing, or
That's that is literally what the article I'm reading mentions. Is that it can't be as bad as Fallout First, but it's damn close.
are they going to
Uh,
stop you from playing if you don't have a subscription?
No, 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 no.
Okay.
So this is an additional subscription on top of the battle pass or whatever else you're buying in the game. But the thing is like 1,000 V-Bucks. Isn't that just $10 already? So it's like you're not really you're getting some cosmetics for $2. Like I don't really see the value here. It's like I don't know, and I'm sure they'll add to this over time for sure. But this is the thing. This game is huge still, and I do think there are declining player numbers with this game. But like it's already monetized. Like they have cosmetics you can buy and they have a battle pass. So why do they need a subscription on top of that? This is the thing with games. Unfortunately, the suit side of video games, the capitalist side of video games, the shareholder side of video games, where you're trying to make more money than you ever did. Like you're always trying to make more money than you did the month before, the quarter before, right? And it's just a thing with this. Like they're trying to milk people for more money, like their existing player base, and that's all this is. It's so overt. There's no value here. They're not giving you anything interesting. Nothing that you can't get outside of this subscription. It's like I don't like, and it sucks because it's like if this finds success, other people are going to do it. Apex will probably do it. PUBG will probably do it. Whatever other game, they'll probably do it. I'm sure League of Legends will do it. Even, it's like it's frustrating because Fortnite, unfortunately, is still the leader in the market, and what they do, others will do. So I'm hoping no one buys this, but that seems doubtful given the number of people they have playing every month. Montrell, does this concern you? As a League of Legends player, does this concern you?
Yeah, I mean, so I hope they have like subscriptions for skins and stuff because I just want to. Sometimes I just
Imagine.
buy skins. I
Where
don't
they give
know.
you riot points every month,
Yeah, but I feel like they're not going to give you the amount of riot points that you need sometimes to buy like a legendary skin.
Oh yeah, they'll give you just under that.
Yeah,
That's how they do it, right? Yeah. Oh God, I hate it.
yeah, like the Lux skin that came out like a year ago or something like that, which is really cool. It had like 4 different skins in the one, and you can change the element of the skin depending on how you're playing or whatever. That was
Yeah.
really cool. But that skin cost like 20 bucks. I think skin cost $20, and
Dota has $35 skins called Arcanas.
My God.
which I'll be honest, I have purchased. So
Yeah, I mean,
I'm part of the problem.
I purchased one of those skins too.
I mean, they're dope skins. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
Like they change everything about the character, like the ability look, the character skin, but all there's like all sorts of particle effects and shit. You look dope like playing the game, you know. But it's $35.
yeah. So I don't know, man.
We don't
I
need
don't
more
think
monetization in video games. We don't.
I
We
think just
don't.
to keep up with their maybe like you said, a dwindling numbers or whatever, make a
Yeah.
better game. I I mean, I don't understand. Like the
Yeah. Keep
game,
your game engaging.
yeah. Like I don't know, like yeah, keep the game. The game's already good. I don't like Fortnite, but I can acknowledge like it's a pretty popular game because the game is actually good. Like the mechanics are there and everything of that nature.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, it's just not my type of BR. But
Yeah.
I mean, just make the game more engaging, or make a new Fortnite, make Fortnite 2 or something like that, or I don't know, just make another game where you can monetize it off of. But you don't have to kill this game. Well, maybe they do see this game getting killed, and they're like, "Oh, we're just gonna leak it until we can't, or we're gonna, you know, just milk it until we can't milk it anymore," and then they're gonna finally kill it off or whatever. But I guess,
Are we already at that point with BRs, man?
yeah. And you know what? I'm kind of glad. It's been 2 years. It's been 2 years of hell.
More than that. 3 years.
3 years? Okay, it's been 3 years
Yeah,
of hell.
PUBG came out. It'll be 4 years in March since PUBG actually released.
Okay.
Well, released in open beta, actually. So yeah, that was the beginning of this whole thing. Was that moment, really? But so yeah, it's been a while. But I just, it sucks because I genuinely really like Apex Legends, and I think it's a really good BR. I think it's my favorite one that I've played,
Mhm.
to be honest. And I do wonder though at some point when we're going to start seeing, like we already are starting to see these shitty practices, right? Their redesign of the battle pass that wasn't altruistic, you know. I think that was purposeful, and they got called out on it, and their fan base really was upset about it. But they made some concessions, but they're not all the way back to where they were, you know. So they're slowly going to start turning that dial more and more and more over time, and then I am worried we're going to start seeing, like this, subscriptions or other forms of monetization that we've not seen before, in that game too. It is the nature of the beast, right? You got to keep the revenue up.
Yeah.
The revenue's got to keep going up. Like it can't stagnate or can't go down. God forbid it can't go down. So that's kind of the worst case scenario with some of these games. So, and that's the funny part in the mobile space that is interesting is that getting back into Fire Emblem Heroes, I started reading some news about it a little bit. And apparently, the game's not actually doing great. This
Really?
year's been really bad for the game. Remember back in February when we talked about the subscription that they introduced into that game?
Yeah.
That was the beginning of an exodus of players that has continued till now. And um, player numbers, and revenue numbers have gone steadily down for Fire Emblem Heroes since then.
Well,
So,
you mean, you know what? I'm thinking about it. Like we all had I don't want to say a surplus of money, but we all had a steady income at the beginning of the year. But now, as the pandemic has went on, more and more people are losing their jobs, and they can't support this habit of
yeah,
constantly churning out money to play these games.
yep.
So I mean, the games are free to play. They probably just play what they want to play, do their dailies, and then log out. Like,
Yeah, that's how the games are designed.
yep.
you know, a lot of them. And I think it's an interesting thing. There is some pushback with this stuff. And I do wonder if Fortnite's going to get some pushback with this, because this sucks. This is shitty. This is not a consumer friendly move. And I will be curious. Unfortunately, their player base is young, like skews very young. So I don't know if it's going to matter that much for them. But some of the different games like Apex, I'm sure skews a little bit older than Fortnite, and same with Fire Emblem Heroes. Actually, that's the interesting part. Is I think Fire Emblem Heroes demographic is late 20s, early 30-year-olds. Like that's kind of the majority demographic that they hit.
Yeah.
That's what Fire Emblem appeals to, and it's funny that demographic put the game down because they introduced a subscription, like they just said, fuck it, we're not paying for this, and fuck this is gross. We don't want this in this game, even though it's a gotcha game that's already gross inherently, but that was a step too far. Why
Yeah.
do you need a subscription in a gotcha game? A gotcha game. Like, come on, you know? So I don't know. It is what it is. So I'll be interested to see what happens with this. If we get some there's better stuff in this next month or whatever, or they take it away, or this huge blowback. We'll find out, I guess, because they just announced it today. So we'll see. All right, let's move on to our next story. This is a Microsoft story. So there's been a bit of a hint at something. I don't think this is an official announcement or anything like that, but there's been a hint that Microsoft will be adding the ability to play Xbox games on smart televisions. And this may come in the form of a kind of Fire TV stick sort of thing, similar to what Amazon has with their Fire TV sticks. So I think this is a very interesting move if they do this. This is something that Sony cannot match or would not match or would never even do. So it would really depend on the extent of xCloud, like what they're allowed to stream through xCloud on TVs versus, other devices. Because that licensing needs to be in place for them to do that. But if they're capable of doing a large portion of the library that's on Game Pass, what do you think of this, Montrell?
I mean, I don't have an objection to it because it wouldn't be a lot of people's only form of gaming. I think the issue where Stadia messed up and what was the other service? Was it just Stadia? I thought it was another service that tried to do streaming as well.
GeForce Now
Yeah,
or Luna, Amazon Luna, or whatever the hell that was
yeah,
called.
Amazon Luna when that comes out. I think the issue is they're trying to use that as their sole form of gaming. So like they're trying to target people who don't have consoles at all. I think this is designed for people who want an option to game, but they can't game right then and there. So say like you're a
Right.
family and whatever, and the family TV is taken, and I mean, you maybe someone's using the Xbox as a DVD player or whatever, and you want to play your Xbox games, and you can't do that because they're using it as a Blu-ray player. So you can sideload it to your TV upstairs, your smart TV upstairs, or somewhere else, or something like that. So, I mean, or you can play it on the go, like if you're in the hotel room or something like that, and you don't want to bring your whole console with you, but you still want
Yep.
to play Xbox games on the go. You can just plug it into because most hotel rooms have smart TVs. You can just
Yep.
plug it into there and play it. So I think it's really cool.
Yeah, this is very much in line with Microsoft's whole mantra that they've adopted of play anywhere, and this is just continuing down that path. I don't think this is a surprise, really. It's a cool thing. I don't think it's going to be huge. Like I agree with you, it's probably going to be a side thing for kids who are in a crowded house who can't play their Xbox for one reason or another. They share a room with their sibling or something like that, and only one of them gets to use it at a time or something like that. Who knows? Anything like situations like that, I could see that being a thing. Or I could see this for people who can't afford a console.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that you just subscribe to Game Pass for $10 a month. You buy this little thing for $30 or whatever it costs, and
You
there you
buy
go.
the
You have a
controller
huge
for like
library of games.
yeah, you buy the controller for about $30 or $40 or whatever.
That's true, right? You would have to buy a controller as well,
Yeah,
but it's still cheaper than a console, even the S. It's still significantly cheaper than that. So, there are some upsides to this, and I just think it's kind of in line. It's consistent with what Microsoft's been saying.
they just
So,
want you in that like you've been saying too. Like they just want to get people in their
right.
environment.
They want to expose you because even if this even if it's not a thing of money, right? You try this out and all of a sudden you're like, oh man, I like these games. I kind of want to play them without latency or whatever the case. And all of a sudden you go buy an Xbox.
Yep.
So this could push hardware too. There's multiple avenues where this could benefit Microsoft to me. So I think this makes sense. I think it's a good move. I'll be interested to see if this actually becomes official at some point soon. But I wouldn't be surprised to hear about this in the next few months. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, because I mean, I bought my TV for 250. So most
Yeah.
smart TVs are really affordable, especially 4K ones are really affordable right now. So
Yeah,
I think it's really great for, like you said,
man, that is
people.
affordable.
Yeah, I think it's really.
What size TV?
It's a 43 inch.
Okay, I got a 48.
Okay.
But yeah, okay.
Yeah, I can after the show I can see some stuff you're trying to get into TV, but
No, I'm good. I'm good, man. I did that a couple years ago, so
yes, yeah, I don't know. That's all I really had about that.
fair enough. Okay, let's move on to our last couple stories here. We got October NPD numbers. I'm just gonna jump right into it. So, total video game sales for October 2020 were 3.836 billion versus 3.358 billion last year, 14% increase. Video game hardware sales 259 million this year versus 183 million last year, 41% increase there. Video game content, this is physical digital game, full games, DLC, microtransactions, subscriptions across all platforms. 3.429 billion versus 3.054 billion, 12% increase from last year. And then video game accessories, 148 million versus 121 million last year, 23% increase there. This is significant because, to be honest with you, this is the month before a new generation was starting, and to see these numbers for video games is unprecedented in that space, that period of time.
Yeah, people usually don't buy around this time because they're waiting
No, they
for
stopped
consoles.
buying.
Yeah,
They literally stopped buying, like because they're anticipating the next generation. It happens every generation, so this has been an interesting year for games where we're seeing sales booming because coronavirus was a big reason, and it's interesting to see that the strength of it. And honestly, this month's MPDs November are going to be very very intriguing to me to kind of see the numbers there. So I'm very excited for that next month. Let's talk top 20 games of the month. So number one, FIFA 21. Number two, Madden NFL 21. Number three, Watch Dogs Legion. Number
whoa,
four, NHL 21. Number five, Mario Kart Live Home Circuit. Number
what?
six, Super Mario 3D All Stars. Why do you think I had this on the news thing a few weeks ago when it was announced, dude? I knew this shit was gonna fucking sell, dude. It's the dumbest shit ever, and here it is, number five. This isn't even a full video game. Fucking ridiculous. Number six, Super Mario 3D All Stars. Number seven, Animal Crossing New Horizons. Number eight, Star Wars Squadrons. Very nice. Number
Yeah,
nine, Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Number 10, Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time. Number 11, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. 12, Ghost of Tsushima. 13, NBA 2K21. 14, Marvel's Avengers. 15, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
holy shit.
16, Ring Fit Adventure. 17, Breath of the Wild, Zelda Breath of the Wild. 18, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. 19, Super Mario Party. 20, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe.
Breath of
I
the
feel like
Wild,
Super Mario Party has been number 19 for 20 straight
and
months.
I don't fucking understand it. I played that game and I was like, this is not. It's not
There's no
Mario.
content.
It's
There's
not
like
Mario
four
Party 3.
boards.
It's not Mario Party. What was the best one? 6 or 4?
I think 3, 5, and 6 were really good.
Okay.
Seven's also pretty good. A lot of people swear by 4. I hate 4. I think 4 sucks ass. But to
I
each
know.
their
I
own.
just remember 3 being like that.
3
Was
was
like,
peak.
yeah, that was
That
peak.
was peak Mario Party.
Yeah. And this is definitely none of that shit.
Yeah.
The boards are super small. Anyway, I ain't about to get into that. But yeah, it's not the best Mario Party. Um,
Hmm.
what I'm surprised is actually 2 of them, Ring Fit Adventure. I
Yep.
know a lot of people that are playing this game.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're actually like losing weight, getting fit, and everything like that. One girl, me and her been like, well, we've been following each other for years. She's in the UK, I believe, and she lost not a lot of weight, but she lost weight. You can tell like the difference, and
Yeah.
she's been doing
Yeah.
other stuff too. But she started putting this in her routine, and I'm like, man, it's like a night and day difference. So a lot of people I actually read on the Reddit for this. And what's funny is a lot of people have been posting like their before and afters for this game, and it's
Wow.
crazy. Like people have been losing like 50, 60 pounds off this game.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Uh,
Yeah.
I
Go
thought
ahead.
about getting it myself just to stay fit or whatever. Because it looks fun. Like they put you in scenarios, you go on adventures and stuff like that. It just looks really fun.
The interesting one for me is Watch Dogs Legion at 3. This game was out for 2 days last month. 3 days. October 29th is when it launched. So it was out for the 29th, 30th, and 31st. 3 days, and it was number 3 on the list, dude. That's fucking nuts.
That is nuts.
For sales. So very strong debut for Watch Dogs Legion. I am surprised by that. I can't believe there's an huge appetite for this game. It just feels kind of out of nowhere, but it seems to be a franchise for Ubisoft at this point. That
Yeah.
they can rely on. So. Other ones of note, I'd say Star Wars Squadrons. Very surprised by the top 10 placement there.
I heard
That
nothing but praise for this game.
Right, but great for them.
Yeah.
Very happy about that. I think the sales were so strong that it surprised EA because they actually announced there's going to be new free content for this game coming out soon, despite initially saying they were not adding anything to it, paid or otherwise. So I think that EA was like, okay, we got something here. So maybe we'll get a Star Wars Squadrons 2 that's way more robust in a few years.
I
That
think
would
they're
be
starting to
fun.
do what we suggested. They use the money for FIFA and Madden to make better games for other games.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what, dude? If EA can do that and they can start having games like this, good for them.
Yeah.
I would love to see that company really turn it around because they have access to really good IP.
Yeah.
And if they can make great games with that IP, then I mean,
Yeah,
dude,
I'll
that's great
sacrifice
for
my
everybody.
NFL. I'll sacrifice my football for that.
Same, same. I will let Madden be horrible if this is what we get. We get Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, Star Wars Squadrons, a good Mass Effect game, a good Dragon Age game. We get games like that. Then I don't know. I don't know how much I'm going to complain about Madden if that's the case. So good for you, EA. Keep it up. By the way, Mario Kart Live Home Circuit is $100 bundle game. So yeah, and it still was number 5.
I'm
It's
pretty
ridiculous.
sure this was this is such a stigma or such a stereotype, but I'm pretty sure this is like the man children by
Yeah.
Nintendo.
Oh, you're totally right, dude. I follow a bunch of people on Twitter. Man children is the exact word I would use to describe them. Being one myself, not gonna like stunt there about that.
Yeah.
But like, dude, it was literally a bunch of grown ass 38-year-old men posting about how fun Mario Kart Live Circuit is. Like, God, come on, man. It's like so fucking Nintendo. They can put Mario Kart on anything, like a fucking paper plate, and it'll sell like crazy. Like it's just ridiculous how strong Mario Kart's brand recognition is. It's just absurd, dude.
Can we
So
can we talk about like a 5 year? I think it's 5 years now, 4 or 5 years. Breath of the Wild, it's still selling as much as it.
yeah. Oh, dude, it's never gonna stop. It's not gonna stop till the next one comes out.
That's crazy. Wow.
I mean, dude, Nintendo's brand strength is just so high. It's insane. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is number 11. Number 11. The month before a new generation of games comes out. Like, come on. What are we doing here? It's like, dude, it was higher than NBA 2K21, which came out a month before. Like, come on. I don't know. It's ridiculous. The 10 through 20 slots of these lists they're just Nintendo's. Like they don't even pay rent. Like they just own those spots. It is what it is. So let's do the top 10 for the year. Just kind of round it out and give you guys a full picture of where video games are right now. So number 1 for the year, Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Number 2, Animal Crossing New Horizons, which is probably number 1 because digital sales aren't included for that game. Number 3, Madden NFL 21. Number 4, Last of Us Part 2. Number 5, Ghost of Tsushima, which is probably clipping at the heels of Last of Us Part 2. Number 6, Final Fantasy VII Remake. Number 7, Marvel's Avengers. Number 8, Super Mario 3D All Stars. Number 9, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Number 10, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, hanging on for dear life, but will very likely get knocked off this list
Yeah.
after this next month. So, yeah, so I want to talk about 2 games here. This is related to our final story of the week is Marvel's Avengers and then Final Fantasy VII Remake. So you see Final Fantasy VII Remake is at 6 for the year, higher than
Yeah.
Marvel's Avengers. And this actually kind of has been floating around for a couple weeks, but I kind of want to talk about it now, now that we have this list for the year. is that Marvel's Avengers has lost Square Enix a shitload of money. They reported a loss of $48.4 million in operating income in their first half of, or sorry, the second quarter when Avengers was released. So yeah,
I understand it.
that's pretty bad.
I get it.
Reportedly, this game cost them $190 million to make.
I get it.
It was in development forever, like years, 6, 7 years. Like seriously, no joke there. But this game has been an unmitigated disaster for Square Enix, and it it doesn't seem like. I mean, I guess let's just cut right to the chase, Montrell. We've talked about Anthem, right? How
Yeah.
EA is trying to save that game, Bioware's trying to save that game. Do you think Square Enix should just cut and run with Marvel's Avengers?
I will be honest, no. Um
Okay.
there is potential there.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, the combat is really good. It's really robust.
Mm.
I
Mm-hmm.
think the combat system they built, even they just released a new Avenger. Her name's Kate something, or I don't think it's Kate something. Anyway, she has like Hawkeye's moves where she can
Yeah.
teleport and she has a sword. She
Okay.
shoots arrows and she teleports and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
and you can do like really cool combos with her. The problem is it suffers from the Anthem, or you want to go even back even further, the Destiny effect, where the base premise of the game is good. The combat is good. It's
Yeah.
just the lack of content. And that's what the Avengers problem.
And the loot system's a disaster too.
Yeah, the loot system is a huge disaster. Um, it just it's not there, you know. Um, so I'm trying not to go heavy on this. I'm like I'm trying not to hate on this game because I think the game has some very good points. I think the story mode is really good um, for what it is.
Yeah.
But if you look at the game as a whole,
Mm-hmm.
I think that 109 or 190 million dollars went towards licensing. Like that had to
Yeah.
be it because bro, it can't have went towards the development of this game. Honestly, I was debating with someone on a timeline, some random, because that story did drop out about this like last week or a week ago, and he was upset. He was like, "Oh, maybe it was because of the likenesses that they didn't use," and I said, the budget would have been even. I can't. I know me and you harped on that as well, but I can't use
We
the
did.
likeness as a excuse anymore because if they had to use the likeness for of the actors, this game would have been significantly smaller the way it already is because they would
It's
have
just
paid.
not. It's not the. I think the thing is with the likeness thing. It wasn't the fact. I never said that they should have used the likenesses. It was the fact that like we've been staring at these characters looking a certain way for so long. It
Oh
was
yeah,
just
for
going to
like 2
inherently
years
hurt
straight,
this
12 years
game,
straight.
and
Yeah,
that yeah, that seems to be the case. And let me be the evil, let me be the bad cop here and go in hard on this game because I don't want this. I want this game to die. Just leave, like for number one, just get Marvel out of my life. Like I'm sick of hearing about this shit. Like whatever, let the movies be the movies. But this game seems to have been a disaster, and like let's get something else in the Marvel universe, something like more like Spider-Man, a single player game. Like let's get some more of those because that seems to be where the success in the Marvel IP lies within video games. And the other thing is the monetization of this game is vastly different from Anthem and base Destiny. Like this game is heavily, heavily fucking monetized. Like you've got all these tie-in fucking promo skins, and then you've got a fucking battle pass for every individual character that you have to buy individually. It's ridiculous. Like what like I don't know what Square Enix's deal is when they do this to certain games because they did this with Deus Ex Mankind Divided too, where they just insert monetization into certain games and it fucking ruins them. Like Mankind Divided somehow was a great game despite all that. But dude, do you remember like the multiplayer modes that were in that game that were fucking microtransaction ridden? And it was just this like simulation mode where you were like doing these like simulation missions or whatever. But there was like this currency in there and shit like that. And they did this with this game too, where they just inserted shit that was unnecessary into this game. And frankly, I think the audience they were marketing this game to just not is not into live service games. They marketed this game as a single player game that has live service component. And I think that's what happened. I think a lot of people bought this game, played through the single player, and dropped it. And that's it. They're done. They don't care. They're out. Like the game's over. Bye. And like that. If that's the case, they're fucked. Like this game's dead. They're not. They don't have an audience. Like straight up. They're like, what's even the point of trying to make like do anything with this game? They're like the developers are panicking and like are like emergency sending out these like press releases like, oh, we got new content coming, and then this game's player numbers are in the thousands on Steam. It's like it's bad, dude. Like it's bad.
No,
I think this
you're
game's
right. I
dead.
mean,
Like I think
I
this
think
game's
they
dead.
still can save it though. I think they still can save it, but they're gonna have to
They probably
revamp.
could.
They're going to have to revamp the way the game plays.
Yeah,
They're going to have to turn it into a Destiny type game
an
or
actual live service game.
actual live
Yeah,
service game. Because also they need to. Um, it lacks character. It lacks enemies. Like all you're fighting is giant
enemy variety.
robots.
Right,
Um,
right.
like for as of right now, when I played it, um, you fought I think two villains. I think maybe one or two villains.
Mhm.
Um, I played this game so fast, by the way. That's why I didn't put it on any of my things because I was just like, I don't want to talk about it for an hour because I regret playing the game to be honest with you.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, you play I think one or two villains. Like, why am I fighting giant fucking robots all the time? Like, let me fight. Like, Marvel has a ton of villains that you can, and I think they didn't
Yeah,
get these villains because of licensing issues. Like,
yeah.
I think this game is severely held back by licensing. And if
Then
that
why
was,
did Marvel even do
I was
this?
just
If
about to
they're
say
gonna,
that. Why the
yeah,
fuck are we even making this game?
yeah. Why did you even approach Square for this? If you're not going to let them have full reign, like why? Because I think another fatal flaw of this game is that it came out a year too late. This game needed to come out when Infinity War was coming out or when Endgame was coming out, one of the two of those.
Yeah,
And it like, yeah, it would have looked like a tie-in game, but it would have been its own thing. Like the fact that it came out a year and 3 months after Endgame came out, like who fucking cares at this point? Avengers, like we're like no one's talking about Avengers anymore. Like we're beyond that. Marvel hasn't released a fucking movie in a year. It's like like it's completely irrelevant at this point. So that's another thing they completely whiffed on their timing window for this game. It just came out in a time where no one cares, and like Anthem is a disaster or was a disaster last year. So it's like this genre is not well looked upon. Like and to you need to release your game in a good state. Like in a really good state to get away with this. And I just don't. I don't know. I feel like I'd rather have Crystal Dynamics and Eidos doing other things. Like I don't want them making this game. And I don't think Eidos is mainlining this game anymore. I think they were for a period of time. I think Crystal's the primary developer of this game at this point. But I don't want Crystal making this game either. Like, make something else. They're a talented developer. Like, I don't want them making a live service game. So I don't know. I think Square's handling this whole thing has been bad. I think they should just dip while they can,
I,
because the
I understand. I feel you. I just
yeah,
it's such a shame because like the game combat is really good. You really do, especially for
yeah.
Captain America, Black
I
Widow.
saw it, dude.
Yeah,
I saw a lot of posts on Twitter of the little training room you can do.
yeah,
There's some really deep comboing you can do and juggling of enemies and shit. If you're good at this game, like it was really impressive actually.
yeah.
But
It's really cool. It's just the lack
that
of
doesn't make a game though.
yeah, exactly. It's Anthem all over again, in my opinion.
Yeah, right,
And
right,
that's why I feel
right.
like it can be saved because I felt like Anthem can be saved too. They have the core
Mhm.
of what they need. They just need to build around that core. Um, what I can't understand is how this game, both of these games actually, because I won't leave Anthem out of this, took 7 years to make. I don't,
Yeah,
and
it's unbelievable.
granted, I'm not a developer. Maybe like I'm assuming a lot of that is maybe infrastructure stuff. Like setting up the game servers and how game and the
I think it's
gameplay
poor
moves.
management.
Yeah, it is poor management.
It definitely wasn't BioWare's case. I just expect we're going to get a deep dive about this game at some point. It's going to reveal very similar things to what happened to Anthem, where I have a feeling this game fucked around in dev for 3 or 4 years and they didn't know what they were making. And then all of a sudden decided a year or two before release, like, okay, we're making this game. And that's what they shipped, you know,
That's
and it
that's
just wasn't
crazy.
ready.
This game, like you said, this game should have came out a year and a half ago when
Yeah,
Infinite
Endgame
War,
was coming
Endgame
up.
came
Yeah,
out. Yeah, it came out. It should have came out like 2 months after that. That would have been the
yeah.
perfect time. Um, I don't know, man. Maybe you're right. Maybe they do need to drop it, but I feel like they're not though, just because they invested so much money. And
I
like
know,
I said,
sunk cost fallacy.
yeah, and um, I think Marvel or Disney or whoever needs to loosen up on their licensing. I think if one thing that we learn from any of these games, especially these big budget licensed games, you gotta give these developers free reign. Like I felt like with Spider-Man, Sony was like, go crazy. And they did, and Insomniac did that. They're like, yo, we're just about to go fucking wild with this game. And they did. Um, I felt like with this one, the lawyers didn't do as good of a job as making a deal with them because if I was you, if you want a Marvel or a comic book fix, I would go with what is it called? It's on the Switch. I can't think of the name right now.
Oh, Ultimate Alliance.
Ultimate Alliance. I would go with that
Yeah,
game.
Ultimate Alliance 3.
Yeah, not a bad game. If you want your superhero fix, each hero is unique. You can play multiplayer with people, play side by side with somebody, 2-player couch co-op. Not a bad game. So nice little beat 'em up game uh, that gets the job done. And if you play Marvel Ultimate Alliance on like the older generation, like 360 and stuff, I had a blast playing those shits. I played those shits for hours online and with people like sitting next to the couch with me. So
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of what I was expecting out of this game. Not like to that extent, but I was expecting more polished, like grown up version, if that makes any sense, of that. And I didn't get that from this game. I felt like it was trying to do that, but just they I just really think I'll repeat it one more time. I just think licensing like really fucked this game over. That's what I think.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's a shame. We'll keep monitoring, I guess, if they announce some, free to play, re-release or whatever remake of the game. We'll let you guys know for sure. We'll be watching this. The development of these live service games is very interesting to me for sure. So, one more thing on the NPD I want to mention. Very interesting here is that best-selling games of the last 12 months, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is actually number 2 on that list.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
and yeah, which is crazy given that it's not on the best-selling games of 2020 list at all, you know? So that means the game sold a shitload very quickly last year, which I remember we reported actually. We reported on. So I do remember that, but very interesting thing to note.
Well,
So
it's a game. It's a good game. It deserves it, man. So
it is a good game. Indeed it does. So, okay, Montrell. Anything else you want to talk about?
I did have something, but I forgot about it.
Fair enough. I've got a tornado nearby, apparently, so
What?
I
Okay.
should probably get off. Yeah, no, dude. I don't know what the fuck. The area I live in has become this weird fucking pocket of extreme thunderstorms and like tornadoes. I don't know. So
Well, be careful.
whatever. Yeah, I'll try to be safe. But okay. That's it for us, guys. If you like the show, please like the show, review the show, subscribe to the show on whatever feed you're listening to it on, and please share it with your friends. We're trying to grow the audience. If you'd like to interact with either of us on Twitter, you can do so at iTrap4 the Hokage. That is the number 4, not the word. That's for Montrell. For me is Thunder01. The show is at the Player's Take. If you'd like to send us a question, you can do so on Twitter, or you can send an email to the Player's Take 01 at gmail.com. All right. We hope you guys enjoyed this episode,
Um,
and we will see you on the next one.
I'm sorry.
All right.
One more thing
Bye.
before we get off. I
Oh,
have to do
okay.
one shout out to my
Yeah.
League of Legends friends when they listen to my podcast. So shouts out to Fire Type Chris
Okay.
and shouts out to my man Mr. OG Snowy, Mr. Snowy OG. I'm sorry. Hope you guys get better and get to go. But that's all I gotta
Oh, man. Well, come on, man. You can't carry him?
say. Hey man, sometimes they don't listen. I'm just
All right. Fair enough. We'll stop there before Montreal digs this hole any deeper. We hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Goodbye.